All right, welcome into another edition of Catching Up with Tommy Mack here on 1010XL's podcast platform at 1010XL.com. Of course, don't forget to download the 1010XL app. You'll find everything that goes on the radio station, 92.5, 1010 AM, everything that goes on in here on the podcast platform as well. On demand, check out the shows. It's all right there for you on the app and on the website. A lot of shows done right from here, and I'm just glad to be a part of the 1010XL podcast platform family and really just the family overall. It is Friday, so happy Friday to you. Our Jaguars are on a bye week, but there's always something to talk about here on Catching Up with Tommy Mack, brought to you by Team Tommy Mack, Chris Lucero's Bail Bonds, J-Dog Junk Removal, Azar Sausage, some of the best sausage you'll ever have, Meat 55, the Carbon Man Flooring, Truck Accident Law Firm, and, of course, 1010XL. So great to be here, and let's welcome in my man, my producer, and my young compadre, as they say. Grammage is here. Hey, Grammage.
Good morning, sir.
You got the old school. I got to show the people,
yes,
man.
Sir.
You got the
yes,
old
sir.
school Jaguar.
Right
Look
here,
at that.
baby. Absolutely.
Isn't that wild? They had to change that logo because the car company complained.
Yep, this logo never made it on a uniform.
Did it not make it? It made it on some memorabilia, I know.
Made it on a ton of memorabilia.
Yeah, well, you're wearing it. What am I? Duh. Right, but yeah, you're right. No, it never did. They put the kibosh on that pretty quickly. So,
in all fairness, it does look extremely similar to the Jaguar car company
it's
logo.
basically it.
It literally is.
Somebody didn't look very far. Hey,
right.
what logo should we have? There's a good one.
right.
I don't know. Maybe things, but anyway, we love the logo now. And by the way, can I just say, I just thought of this. The uniform combinations have been sick this year, man. I love all of them. You know, the Jags are wearing. I like the teal with the white. I like the you know what I mean? The white and white. I just think they look sharp, man. White and black.
Our uniforms right now are just a smidge too plain. Now, I don't want I don't want craziness.
Oh man, I like them. I like them just the way they are. I think.
I don't want like the.
What is it? Missing a color? Or what do you need? What is
I just need a little more. Like if I could have like a full body Jag on the sleeve or something.
Oh, okay.
And then the numbers. Yep. If I can have like teal or gold trim.
Okay,
well,
so
like small stuff.
You need a little bit. You need some accentuating.
Just a little, because
you hear that, Jags? You need some accentuating on your logos.
Right now, it's just a smidge plain, and I don't want like the old version, like the previous version where there was the two-tone helmet and all kinds. I don't want all kinds of craziness, but like a trim on the number, I think really adds a lot to a uniform cleanly.
I'm down with that.
Also, when we have white jerseys, I would love teal numbers.
Okay,
love
fair. I think we had those back in. Actually, we did have those back in the day.
The jerseys that you rocked when you were playing.
Yep.
Some of the best uniforms I've ever seen in my life.
Oh, nice. I'll tell you, my favorite was the all-whites and then the black helmet.
They were
that
sweet,
bad to the bone. That was bad to the bone. But I do have to say the all-black that the Jags have worn over the years, I wish we had that chance because that'd have been cool. They look badass. They looked really good in that all-black.
My two favorite unis that the Jags have ever had are the old-school, classic black helmet, teal jersey, white pants, black socks.
Yep.
Old videos of Freddie T wearing that, and it looks so sweet.
Yep. And there is a Jaguar on the sleeve now that I think actually you can see it in the
and it looks
10,000. It's right there, baby.
And it looks awesome. It's one of my favorite uniforms of any team.
Yeah.
And then also in the Del Rio era, when they would have night games and they'd wear all black.
Yeah.
Those were sweet.
And they had a little gold on or yellow on them, didn't they, or something? Yeah.
They had some gold trim.
Hey, man, look, you look sharp, you play sharp. There's a lot of truth to that.
And Big John feel Henderson wearing the all black and Stroud and
with blood coming down.
Man, that was badass.
Yeah, they were badass, no doubt. That defense was badass. Our defense is badass, and I'll tell you what. I know all throughout the weekend. I talked about it earlier in the week, actually. More on social media than anything, but I know a lot of people upset we didn't snag a pass rusher. All I got to think is that they believe in what they have, and I will say, in my personal opinion, you can never have enough good pass rushers. There's a lot of truth to that. However, if you looked at this team from a macro perspective, overlooking them from above, if you had to pick out the weakest unit to date, you'd pick out the offensive line.
I agree.
Okay? So, and if the defense was struggling, it'd be different. I would be totally in for that, but they're not. Top 5 against the run. They are unbelievable against the run. They're number 6 overall. Now, this was before last night's game, but number 6 overall and getting off the field on third down. I talk about that every week, how important that is. And it is. You give your offense the ball back. Now, granted, prior to last week, our offense sucked on third down. So we're giving them the ball back, but they're giving the ball back. So it really, I don't know how much that helped the team, but last week they were very good on offense on third down. And then finally, we're leading the league in takeaways, man. I mean, interceptions and fumbles. Look, and I think our guys are getting better. First of all, Josh Allen's having a monster year, and Trayvon Walker's having a good year, man. He's coming along, and I know we all want sacks. But I guarantee you turn on that tape, that kid is making plays, and they're happy with what they have. And they did try from what we hear. They had a value board. They stuck to it, and they went a different direction. Look, Ezra Cleveland was a top lineman coming out of college back in, I think, what he was drafted, 2020, something like that. I don't know anything about him other than he was drafted by Minnesota, and that I remember his name coming out of college, and I remember at the combine he moved really well for a big guy, 6'6", 315. Now, he's not a monster guard. Doug doesn't have monster guards. He likes guys that can move. He was built more like a tackle. So at the very minimum, you've done what? You've made him your swing, right? Yeah, Walker Little coming back. By the way, right before we left the airwaves on Jaguars today, me and Fat Tony, Mike Dempsey on assignment, they re-signed Ben Barch. Brought him back. To the practice squad. So they're going to the practice squad. So what does that mean? He's not healthy. That's what that means. They're going to give him a chance to get healthy.
I think also...
So I think it's a good move overall. And it was a 6th-round pick. It wasn't like they gave up the farm for Ezra. And look, if he can come in and make our offensive line that much better, then I'm all for it. Because whether you like it or not, the number 1 prized possession on this team is...
16.
Number 16. So you better protect him as best you can.
And really with... I agree with you that Barch is definitely not fully healthy. He also just hadn't had a good year so far, and a part of that is probably
which
because
could be the knee, right?
And you look at now, you bring in Ezra Cleveland, and you now have Barch, who has been a starter most of the year, now on your practice squad.
Yep.
You've added a ton of depth by just adding one player.
Yep.
Because I now have 3 different offensive linemen in Tyler Shatley,
yep,
Walker Little, and Ezra Cleveland that are all, from what I hear, versatile. Yep. I hear Ezra could play either side if he needed to. I got 3 linemen that can play multiple positions, and probably only one of them, at least right now, or maybe 2, because probably Walker Little, when he gets back, are going to need to start right away.
Right.
That's depth.
Right.
That is depth. And most teams in the NFL, there are offensive lines that have more top-end talent.
Yep.
There's probably very few teams in the NFL that have the depth the Jaguars now have at the offensive line. Even if you suffer some attrition, you're still okay.
No, you good points there. I mean, look, 2 weeks ago, the O-line kept Trevor clean. Didn't get hit once. But it's got to be more consistent, right? So, and here's another thing. We believe in Phil Rosher. Yes, I do. He turned this O-line around last year. They were the weak link, ended up being a strength. Well, guess who Phil coached up in Minnesota? Ezra Cleveland. So I'm going to think that that's why the connection is there. Doug trusts him. Do we want this kid? Hell yeah, we want this kid. I loved it, Don't
think it's a coincidence.
Here. Of course, it's not. It's definitely not a coincidence. So they make the offensive line better. Look, Frank Clark goes to Seattle. Montez Sweat goes to the Bears. Chase Young to San Fran. Now, I get the argument. Like, people are like, well, wait a minute. Look at San Fran. They got Nick Bosa. They got Armstead. They're a good defensive line. They're a good defense. Why do you need Chase Young? Well, they also have a great offensive line that they don't have to upgrade either. They got one of the better offensive lines in the game, who's been struggling lately without Trent, their left tackle, Trent Williams, right? So you can see maybe, okay, I get that. Let's take a chance on this kid. He's having a good year. had a good rookie year. I'm talking about Chase Young. Got hurt, didn't have a couple good years. It looks like he's having a pretty decent year. So I get that. And I'm not saying you're wrong if you thought the Deion or Rush was more needed. But from my perspective, the way I look at it, it's almost like it's not a what do they say? Don't fix what's not broken. You know what I mean? It's kind of in that vein of like, we like our locker room. We like our defensive line. We think Trayvon's really progressing. Josh is having a big year. We like Smoot, right? Maybe Abdullah somehow does something down the, you know what I mean? We just like what we have. If we bring in a high price guy that we're going to have to pay at some point, we got to pay Josh now. I don't think you're letting him walk. You know what I mean? Maybe it's too much of a disruption of everything. Maybe that's what they're thinking. And it's got to be a culture thing. You know, you got to fit. And Dave Campbell said it last night on my happy hour show. He's like, that could be part of it. These other guys, just for whatever reason, didn't fit the culture that they want in this team. Who knows? But at the end of the day, I'm going to trust Doug, and I'm going to trust Phil, I'm going to trust Trent that they did the right thing.
And I also think, too, leading up to the trade deadline with all of the edge rushers that were being considered, with the exception of maybe like a Josh Uche or someone like that, that you may have not had to give up as much compensation for. I believe that going into the trade deadline, a lot of people believed that the Chase Youngs of the world, the Daniil Hunters of the world, that could potentially get moved before the deadline, we're going to go for more like third-round picks, fourth-round picks, fifth-round picks, but those guys were really going for more second-round picks. Like it was higher compensation than I think people believed, and perhaps maybe Balky believed at the beginning until he made the phone calls. And San Fran, as good as the Jaguars are, I love this team. Trevor Lawrence is a better quarterback than Brock Purdy, in my opinion. And but top to bottom, 53-man roster, the 49ers have more top-end talent, in my opinion, than the Jaguars currently. The 49ers might have the most talented roster in the league, with the exception of maybe the Eagles. So,
you might be more. About that. That's interesting.
You might be more willing, if you are John Lynch, to give up a second-round draft pick than you would be here if you're Trent Baalke, because you're thinking that I still, over the next year or so, I still want to continue to build my roster.
And Ridley cost something like a second round, right? You may not have a second round to give up. That might have been part of the problem.
Correct.
Right?
Correct.
And then, look, Uche, they said, and Mia Bryan reported this here at 1010, that Jags offered a fifth. They wanted a fourth. They stuck to their value board and said, no, I'm okay with that too. Again, if the defense was struggling, I'd have a different perspective. But I think they've been carrying this team. They've been the story, and they're on the rise, and our two edge guys are playing pretty darn good football. Now, back to your comment. Let's just talk. Okay, so McCaffrey is, but Etienne's pretty close. McCaffrey's the number one class, but I think Etienne's a pretty close second. And I think even further down the line, we're going to feel even more that way, all right? Do we have a Debo? I mean, we have a Debo receiver. I think Kirk is that, can get open, make plays, run after the catch. You don't use Kirk in the backfield in the run game, so we have a hybrid of him, I guess. I'll give it the offensive line, especially with Trent Williams. He's the best.
Yeah, we don't have a Trent Williams.
Linebackers, I threw this out on Twitter. So Aluakin and Lloyd, Warner and Greenlaw. You got to give it to Warner and Greenlaw. I would probably say that, but we are ultra close to that. You know what I mean? Defensive end, Bosa's been phenomenal for a long, long time. Josh is having a very good year. Does it for one game balance out? I think it probably could. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
So I agree with you to a certain extent, but especially with Zay. Zay's the key. We got to get Zay back. But come on, if you go Ridley, Zay, Kirk, Ingram, Etienne against, well, Kittle's a phenomenal tight end, but so is Ingram. They're pretty close, I would think. Maybe Kittle gets a nod a little bit, but Ingram's pretty close there, right? They don't have a Ridley.
Yeah.
Do they?
Brandon Ayuk is really
Ayuk.
good.
I'm sorry. You're
Brandon
right.
Ayuk
He's a very good player. Yeah. He is. Who's your other receiver? Number 15? Who's the other guy?
He went to Tennessee.
He's a big guy, but
Jennings.
Jennings, right.
Yes.
Okay. So, and he got McCaffrey. But we're better at QB. We're close to tailback.
Yep.
We got some at Debo. We got the backers. I don't know. I think it's a pretty good one-on-one
with
the nod to San Fran. I'll give you that.
I think there's an argument to be made that the Jaguars have a better roster when you factor in the quarterback being a better football player, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I think if you take quarterback out and we're just talking the rest of the field, we're talking line, we're talking receivers, we're talking defense, I think the San Fran probably gets a slight edge.
I don't think, though, in all fairness, that our offense has shown its full thing yet. I mean, you look at Ridley, like, Ridley's been okay. We expected him to blow the doors off, whether that was fair or not. That we're expecting. No, what are you kidding me? The guy should get a big bomb after bomb, and he's done a little bit of that. He's made some great catches. He's dropped. You know what I mean? So he hasn't been there yet. Kirk's had a couple games. Obviously, the game winner against New Orleans. You know what I mean? Zay's been kind of hurt.
Agree.
Ingram's been very good when needed, but it's never been like he hasn't scored a touchdown. You know what I mean? So when this all starts clicking, and that's why they got to get the offensive line right, because you need that old line to have it click the way you want. And if the defense is playing the way it's playing, the offense comes around. They're a dangerous, team.
And I think
dangerous
with Ridley, at some point this year, there's going to be a 150-yard, 8 catches, 2 touchdowns type of football
We're waiting
game.
for that.
It's going to happen.
It is, but you can't force it either. I know they'll say they don't. Sometimes I feel like they do try to showcase Ridley. And look, and they are correct. What do? They roll coverage to Ridley. What does that mean? Safety over the top. Because why? They're not afraid of anybody on the other side of the formation. Nobody scares them.
I need 11 back in the offense.
You do.
I think
11. What do you mean 11?
Zay Jones.
Oh, I think he's 7, isn't he?
He is 7. Sorry,
I
don't know why I said
me off. Like, wait, am I
no, he is. Sorry.
CTE.
I'm getting
ATT.
I'm getting my numbers mixed up.
Right.
Too. He is 7. You're correct.
No, I agree. That's why he's that important to that.
I think he used to be
offense.
number 11 when he was on other teams. But anyway,
it doesn't matter. It's all good.
It's going to happen in a game where the defense is going to commit to stopping Travis Etienne.
Yep.
And they're going to say that I don't want these other weapons to beat us.
Yep.
And it'll be where Ridley gets to just beat one-on-one coverage.
Right.
It kind of happened a little bit in the Bills game.
Yep.
They stuck Kaiir Elam pretty much one-on-one for a lot of the game on Calvin, and Calvin Ridley was cooking him.
Yeah.
There were play after play after play where Kaiir Elam had no answer for him.
Yep. So I just thought of something. That's why they put Etienne out there for that touchdown. Think about it. Like, left him one-on-one. Now, granted, whoever, I think a linebacker had to go out there and cover him. That may change, but think about that. You don't have Zay. Let's put him all the way out. I wonder if they thought like that. You know what I mean? Like, hey, here's a chance.
Yeah.
They're rolling this way. We got Etienne on the outside. That guy ain't going to cover him one-on-one. That's safety, man. And he took the wrong angle. Trev threw a beautiful ball. I'm just wondering. That's interesting. But you throw that out there, you throw Trav out there, that just, everyone on defense's eyes get really wide, like, oh, okay, now what? Do we really want a backer out there? Or should we switch the backer and put a Nick, you know what I mean? Like, who you put out there on him? That's a big matchup problem for defenses.
By the way, going forward, if I do that, now all of a sudden I've got a linebacker on Christian Kirk.
Yeah, good luck with that.
Or a linebacker on Evan Ingram.
Right.
You know what I mean? I like my matchups across the board there.
That's why you need Zay so bad.
I know. I agree.
He just complements the whole thing. And
now both sides of the field have to be accounted for and paid attention to.
Absolutely.
No disrespect. I think both of us really love this guy. No disrespect, but like when it's like Jamal Agnew out there or Elijah Cooks, who are players we like, they're not Zay Jones.
Right.
So the defense is not on alert the same way.
No way.
But
they're with him. So hopefully he's
once Zay is back consistently. I'll tell you, the back half of last year, he was absolutely Trevor's favorite target.
Clutch, baby. Yep.
You go back, and I've forgotten about it a couple times. Whenever I've seen highlights of that game, it just reminds me. You go back to that Ravens game last year.
Yep.
When that game in a lot of ways was kind of the start of it was that game and the Titans game that kind of really got things rolling. That Ravens game, man, the Ravens had no answer for Zay Jones. Yeah. Every single time the Jags offense needed a big play, third or fourth down, it seemed like Zay Jones every single time was coming up.
And we had no Ridley on the other side. That's why you need that kind of player there. And I think that'll complete the offense. It will. And then you get the offensive line right. And I'm telling you, this is going to be a really, really good, fun thing. So, look, there's 6-2. 9 games to go. I threw the question out on the show last night with Kevin Hardy and Coach Campbell, and this morning with Tony. How many wins is it going to take to win the AFC South? I mean, the AFC, not South. Number 1 seed in the AFC. Is it 13? I think it's 12-13, which means what? You got to go 7. Wait, what do you got to go? Sorry, we're 6-2 now.
Yeah.
To get to 4, you'd have to go 8-1. Oh, that's to get to 14. No, you can't get to 14. 7-2 gets you to what? 13-4. Yeah.
I think.
There's my math.
I think you might need 14 wins to win the AFC.
See, here's the thing about KC, and I got Miami winning this week. I don't know if they're gonna because I want to see them, but KC, and we can say the same thing. I mean, KC's 6-2, and they're not playing good football.
Correct.
Or haven't been lately.
Correct.
We're 6-2. And we're finding ways to win. Our defense is playing great football, but our offense isn't playing great football. They're playing okay, and they're doing enough to win, but they haven't hit their stride at all. You know what I'm saying? So, hey, look, it's hard to go 7-2 in the last 9 games. You know what I mean? But we're built for it. I think it's anywhere, I think 12, 13. I don't know, 14. If KC gets the thing that KC's missing, I think, is they don't have anything other than the backs and Kelsey.
Yeah,
they got a little bit with Scantling. They did get Hardeman back. Maybe that changes some things. They get him back from the Jets. He did some damage while he was there.
They got some gadget stuff with Kadarius Toney horizontally,
or
but there's
Sky Moore. Right?
There's not a lot of vertical threats.
No, you're not afraid of them deep.
Which, in my opinion, Mahomes he throws the best deep ball in the league. You're kind of robbing him of his. He's Mahomes. He's great at everything.
Yeah,
but I still think you're probably robbing him of the thing he does the very best, which is throw it deep.
Yeah,
without having someone like that. But the Chiefs are honestly on a pretty similar path to how the Jags have been this year. Honestly, the story of their team so far this year has been their defense.
Yep,
their defense has played really good ball.
They have,
and man. Chris Jones is just
a
freaking unbelievable.
Listen, you could say the same about San Fran. They're only giving up 17 points a game on defense. And they're still a top 5 or 6 defense giving up points. So they're and now they added Young. We'll see. I mean, they're good. It's going to be. Listen, I don't care what their record is going in. You beat San Fran at home. It's a statement win. It is.
1,000%.
It's a statement win.
Oh my God, 100%.
Even with them, coming down the 3. All right, let's see my picks. We had to do those. I did pick Miami at Kansas City. I did pick Philly at home to beat Dallas. And I've got Cincinnati beating Buffalo. They got them at home. How about that for a Sunday? You start with Miami, KC, and you end with Buffalo, Cincinnati. That's pretty badass Sunday, even if our Jags aren't playing. You know what I mean? Those are two. If you don't watch any other NFL, but you watch those 2 games, you'll get your fill. You know what I mean? So that'll be interesting there. But those are the games I'll be watching. I got to tell you a funny story last night. Listen, we hear Coach Campbell a lot here on 1010XL, right? He's fantastic. We all love him. He's just the guy that he is phenomenal. But to talk football with him is like it's a special thing because he gives you stuff that you're not going to get anywhere else. He made a comment last night on the show, but this isn't the story I wanted to tell you, but he made a comment about how Trevor is really good against man but struggles against zone. And I was just like, that's pretty poignant for you to – he's obviously really breaking it down and watching it. It does make a little bit of sense, especially with your playmakers, because all you got to do is put it out there in front of them. Typically, in man, you're open for a split second. Zone, you're open for a second, but that hole closes quick, especially in the NFL, and especially if the rush is coming. But I thought that was poignant. But I got to tell you a great story. So he loves Deion Sanders. Campbell loves him, thinks he's one of the greatest people that he's ever coached and known. So he's coaching the Cowboys. This is back in the Cowboys just won the Super Bowl. And Jerry Jones comes into his office or comes up to him and says, hey, we have a chance to get Deion Sanders. He's finishing up baseball. So he would play baseball to week 7, join a team in week 8. And he's like, we have a chance to get Deion Sanders. And Campbell's like, Jerry, we just won the Super Bowl, and I got my same guys back, and I heard Deion's flashy. And I just like my guys. I like my group. So I said, I really like my group. I don't think we need him. Well, they play San Fran. He goes to San Fran, and Dallas and San Fran play in the championship game, and Deion returns one for a touchdown. And Jerry Jones finds Coach Campbell after the game. He's like, do you want him now? He's like, yes, I want him now. And that's how they got him over to Dallas. So they get to Dallas, and it's a bye week. So it's his first time there. Of course, he's automatically inserted as a starter. So Mike Zimmer's a D coordinator, and they're this wasn't on the air. This was over dinner. It was just awesome. He's like, they're going through the coverages and going through all this and the walkthrough, and finally Deion goes, hey, coach. He looks again, coach, just tell me, who do I got? And he's like, just tell me who I got. I'll cover him. You guys take care of the rest. So he's like, we literally went into the office after the walkthrough and rewrote our entire defensive game plan. And what they did, which I did not know this, you would think that Deion would take the number 1 guy out every game. It was the number 2 guy. So the plan was Deion handles the one side of the field with the number 2 guy, and we take care of the number 1 guy with however we got to do it.
We bracket the coverage and whatever.
Shuts down the other side. And he goes, and if you threw the ball the Deion's way 4 times in a game, 2 would be incomplete, 1 would be a pass defense, and 1 would be a pick 6. Just incredible. I love hearing those stories. It's so cool how that all came together.
Deion is the best of all time at a lot of things.
Yep.
But he's probably Deion and Ed Reed are probably the 2 best DBs of all time at returning interceptions.
Oh, no doubt. Ed Reed was special, man.
The 2 of them, it's like guy. If they ever get an interception,
forget about it.
They're gonna make 5 people miss and score.
Yeah. Well, they can get to top gear in like 2 steps, and it's a gear that nobody can catch.
And they also, a lot of DBs are fast.
Yeah.
Not a lot of DBs have open field moves a receiver or a running back.
Right.
And they did.
Oh, yeah.
And it's offensive players that never trying to tackle them, and they never had a chance.
Yeah.
And Deion, I just see an old highlights of Deion. He'd get an interception pretty deep down the field.
Yep.
Where you'd think a receiver, whoever, should be able to bring him down after 5-10 yards.
Right.
80 yards later, he's high stepping into the end zone. It was crazy. And he made it look so easy.
Yeah, so did Ed Reed, too, when he returned.
He was the same exact way.
Like
the 2 of them have got to be the 2 best of all time at returning interceptions.
Yeah, no doubt.
It was crazy.
It was. But great. You guys, I know you out there, you love hearing Coach Campo on the station and on the podcast. Him and Joe C do a great job on the podcast. He's all over the 5th quarter. He's all over the place.
Yep.
Yeah, so he's awesome. What a great individual. All right, that's going to wrap it up for me on the bye week. I hope you guys all have a great weekend. And, look, I know our Jags aren't on, but they'll be back soon. And hopefully everybody has a good time and stays out of trouble, and they come back ready to rock and roll. I'm going to end this show with just a little tribute to a friend of mine who passed away yesterday. Many of you know him, Matt Thornton, who owned Hyperswole Gym in Atlantic Beach. I knew him back when I first met Matt. I did a speaking engagement for the Bulls football team, and he was in the audience, and he came up to me, and he told me who he was, and he owned this gym, and it was right down the house called Meridian Fitness. So I started training with him, and I loved it. Him and John DePatre, they would bring in so many young kids and turn them into athletes. It was unbelievable. Did a lot for the kids, a lot for the community. He actually gave my wife a shot at putting her business in Meridian Fitness, subleasing it. And anyway, he passed away unexpectedly yesterday, and it's just sad, man. Obviously, I believe in heaven. I believe in another life. I believe he's going to heaven, and we'll see each other one day. And that's what I believe. That's what gets me through. But I do pray for his family and his friends. And man, I hope he can find some peace out there. It's sometimes you just can't explain it. You just can't explain why things happen. But one day we will know why. We will, and I believe that. So God love all you out there. Peace and love. God bless you all, and we'll look forward to coming back next week. Hey, listen, lineup for me. Tuesday right here, we've got Catching Up with Tommy Mac, me and Grammage every Tuesday around 10 o'clock. On Thursday, The Horse's Mouth, which is just rocking and rolling. So much fun. We just had Double D on yesterday with Dave Campo and a bunch of just entrepreneurs, business leaders. Everybody's welcome. Go to iwannabuzz.com. We want to check that out. Friday, of course, you got Jaguars Today. We've also got the Catching Up with Tommy Mac podcast. And on Thursday nights, brand new show, Tommy Mac's Happy Hour at Graffiti Burger Bar in Jax Beach. Just had our second show last night with Dave Campo and Kevin Hardy. Just an awesome time talking ball, talking career, talking Jags, interactive with the fans. We'll be there every Thursday at 6 o'clock. We will pipe in the sound next time so you can all hear us. But so much fun right there at Graffiti Bar. Brought to you by Adaptive Jacks and Brackish Vodka. And don't forget the Salt Air Inn & Suites in Atlantic Beach. When you're looking for a place to stay at the beach, check out Salt Air Inn & Suites. All right, that's going to do it for me. Grammage, thanks so much. Great job on that sweatshirt and rocking the old school. I hope everybody has a great weekend. LFG Jags, even though you're on your weekend off, but that'll always remain, and we'll see you next time right here. Until next time, stay safe and be cool out there, and we'll see you right here on Catching Up with Tommy Mac. Peace.